Welcome back to another video, guys. I'm Dave. This is Dave G Investing, where we talk about stocks, options, finance, and basically just try to increase our wealth together. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I do hope if you like the video, you'll consider hitting like and subscribe down below. It'll really help me out to continue making content. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back and being a viewer. I love you guys. You're the best. Stay awesome. Okay, today I'm talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, I want to make clear from the get-go, I don't claim to be a complete expert in crypto and Bitcoin. Frankly, there's so much to this space that if I were to try to become an expert in the field, I'd probably have to completely give up on researching stocks and focus solely on cryptos. There's so many different projects, so many different technical aspects to it, extremely complicated space. And this is just one investor's opinion, where I stand on it. Everyone has their own opinion, of course. It's quite a hot topic these days. And I do welcome your debate and discussion down below in the comments. If you disagree with me, all I ask is that we have a constructive, interesting debate on it, and we don't fall back on anger, name calling, and things like that. You may even change my mind. I'm fully open to changing my mind on this if compelling arguments are presented to me. I do want to make clear from the start that I'm not anti all crypto. I do think it's an interesting technology. It's very powerful. It can do a lot of things. I'm simply not investing in Bitcoin because I don't think it is the best option. I do hold a little bit of Ethereum, guys. I did want to have some exposure to crypto, and I just felt that Ethereum was a better way to go. I do think it's important to have a bit of name and brand recognition, as well as network effect going for you, having a big following in terms of keeping your money safe. So Ethereum's really number 2 in the crypto space. It isn't a large portion of my net worth that I have in Ethereum, less than 1% probably, to be honest, but I also do own Coinbase. I have exposure to the crypto market through them, as they often move in tandem with crypto prices. As crypto values go up, their commissions can increase, and it generates more interest in crypto, and they can make more money. So I have exposure to crypto both through Ethereum and through Coinbase. All right, so let's talk about the original thesis behind Bitcoin, what it was trying to accomplish when it was created way back in the day. Feels like a long time ago now, even though it's a really recent creation. But basically, the idea was it would be a new currency not controlled by any government, and would give that freedom back to the people. So it's supposed to be a currency. You buy and sell things with it. But let's be honest, guys, no one's going to walk into McDonald's and buy a Big Mac with Bitcoin. It's just not happening. So in my opinion, it's failed as a currency. You don't use it to buy and sell anything on a daily basis. You don't use it to exchange value. Like, that's the whole point of a currency, right? Is to facilitate the exchange of goods and services. Instead of selling you this cow for 10 hours of my labor, we use this made up money and use it as an intermediary to transfer that value. Much more efficient than obviously the old barter system back in the day. But Bitcoin is really not being used for that, right? If you own it, you buy it and you just hold it. It sits in your account, does nothing except go up and down. It's not being used as a currency at all at this point, from as far as I can see anyway. Let me know if you are actually using it for your purchases on a semi-regular basis. I would be very surprised to hear it. Bitcoin is also, unfortunately, from what I have gathered, not very efficient in performing transactions. So the amount of transaction volume on credit card networks and debit cards, things of that nature, is absolutely astronomical. How many transactions are happening every second around the world? And Bitcoin was made many years ago now, and from what I understand, it frankly just can't handle that many transactions per second. The energy it costs to do it is quite high, and it does not have the capacity, from what I know, at least the base layer of Bitcoin, BTC, to facilitate all the transactions necessary to become our main worldwide currency. Okay, guys, so this is straight from Wikipedia. I know some people may think it's not always the most reputable source, but nevertheless, Bitcoin scalability problems. So, why is Bitcoin unable to perform the number of transactions necessary in an efficient way to become the new worldwide currency that we all use as opposed to our cash dollars? So, the Bitcoin scalability problem refers to the limited capability of the Bitcoin network to handle large amounts of transaction data on its platform in a short span of time. It is related to the fact that records, known as blocks, in the Bitcoin blockchain are limited in size and frequency. Bitcoin's blocks contain the transactions on the Bitcoin network. The on-chain transaction processing capacity of the Bitcoin network is limited by the average block creation time of 10 minutes and the original block size of 1 megabyte. These jointly constrain the network's throughput. The transaction processing capacity maximum estimated using an average or median transaction size is between 3.3 and 7 transactions per second. There are various proposed and activated solutions to address this issue. So obviously, worldwide, 7 transactions per second is not enough to run your economy off of and to use as your everyday driver. Plus, if you are using it as money, you can't have your money changing in value massively, daily, weekly, monthly. So Bitcoin has these massive swings. It's why a lot of people buy it, right? Because it's going way up in value. Sometimes it goes down, up, whatever. It's great for an investment. You want it to go up in value. Not great, really, for a currency because you need the price of milk to be the same tomorrow and the next day and the next day. You can't have people trying to, wait out, oh, my money will be worth more in a week, less in a week. It's not really how a currency is supposed to work. Now, this was a paper written by an economist back in 2016. Just from the abstract here, Bitcoin has received much attention in the media and by investors in recent years, although there remains skepticism and a lack of understanding of this cryptocurrency. We add to the literature on Bitcoin by studying the market efficiency of Bitcoin. Through a battery of robust tests, evidence reveals that returns are significantly inefficient over our full sample, but when we split our sample into 2 subsample periods, we find that some tests indicate that Bitcoin is efficient in the latter period. Therefore, we conclude that Bitcoin in an inefficient market may be in the process of moving towards an efficient market. So maybe moving towards an efficient market, but not completely efficient. And the source there is SSRN. So this is Janet Yellen talking to CNBC. She is the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. Of course, she's probably old school, as are a lot of people in the government these days. She's been around a long time, so she may not be so keen to embrace new technology, especially something she doesn't have control over, being in government. But that being said, identifying her potential bias, here's what she has to say. I don't think that Bitcoin is widely used as a transaction mechanism, which is basically what I was just saying earlier. She told CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin at a New York Times DealBook conference. To the extent that it is used, I fear it's often for illicit finance. That has been another criticism of Bitcoin, one I'm not quite as worried about, but it is true. Although transactions on the blockchain are there forever, so in that sense, from what I understand, it may not actually be a great way of hiding your transactions. Now she continues. It's an extremely inefficient way of conducting transactions, and the amount of energy that's consumed in processing those transactions is staggering. So yeah, Bitcoin, one of the big criticisms against it is the fact that it uses so much energy. Like from what I've read at this point, it uses the same amount of energy as a small country. So definitely not cheap energy-wise. And really, we want to be able to reduce our energy usage and have a financial system that is extremely energy efficient. Now, I know there's some work going on in this area to try and address that, but I don't think anyone out there who's holding Bitcoin has the thesis at this point that it's going to become an energy efficient way to process all of our transactions, and we're going to use it for the daily transfer of goods and services. That's just not what the thesis is anymore, I don't think, which is strange for a currency. Okay, so then the new thesis of Bitcoin became, okay, fine, Bitcoin doesn't work very well as a currency, but it's great as digital gold. Which you think about gold, what is it? Well, it's stable. It's an investment that you want to go up in value. It can also be a hedge against the market. So if the markets aren't going to do well and you have your money in gold, it's a safer place. It also hedges against inflation because the US or Canadian dollar is inflating and losing its value. Bitcoins won't be losing their value. So the new thesis is it's a digital gold. You just like gold, you buy it, you own it. You don't walk to the corner store and buy a chocolate bar with physical gold, but it does hold value. It's a store of value. It's an investment, and this is, from what I understand, a lot of people's thesis these days. So let's examine this a little bit more closely. This is the Nasdaq versus Bitcoin prices, and it's not perfect, obviously, but you can see there is a surprising correlation. If I want to hold gold as well as tech stocks, I want something that's almost like a hedge. So if tech stocks are doing horribly, at least my gold is safe, and vice versa, right? But what we're seeing is there's a correlation between Bitcoin and the Nasdaq, where yes, there are some deviations here where Bitcoin goes up more than the Nasdaq or vice versa. Mostly this is Bitcoin being higher, but the trend is hard to deny at this point, where they move similarly, right? So if we go into a bear market for tech stocks, we're also going to go into a bear market for Bitcoin, which is not what you want for your gold type asset. You kind of want it to be a hedge against these things and move in the opposite direction almost, or at least just be steady and low volatility, which is what I think of when I think of gold. This is another chart. This is a closer 1-year chart. Now, obviously, we do have some deviation here. Bitcoin rising more than the Nasdaq. It also fell more. You're seeing it be more volatile in general, but the trend still appears to be there if we follow the lines. The green is obviously the Nasdaq, both going down more recently, trading together for the most part, just with more volatility on Bitcoin's side and not less, which, again, when you think of gold, you don't think of an extremely volatile asset. That's kind of the point of it, right? So coming back to Ethereum and why I've decided to put my money into it as opposed to Bitcoin, I still do want some exposure to the crypto space. It's a very interesting technology. I do believe it's very powerful. It could have a bright future ahead of it. I've just decided that Bitcoin isn't for me. Now, I do still want something that has a lot of people invested in it, a lot of name recognition. And if you watch CNBC or any other investing show, they'll say Bitcoin, they'll say Ethereum, and on the occasional joke, they'll talk about Dogecoin. Those are really the only 3 cryptos that they seem to actually talk about. They're the only 3 cryptos that I'm confident if I talk to like an old school investor or a money manager managing a multi-billion-dollar portfolio, they will know them. The other ones, mostly lesser known, and I do want something that has that name recognition, has that network effect going for it. Kind of too big to fail almost in some senses, the way the amount of money that's gone into these things. But beyond that, getting into why I like Ethereum is that it appears, to me at least, to be built on a better technology. It has more capabilities. It's being worked on by the inventor, Vitalik Buterin. Improvements are being made. It can do a lot more things like smart contracts to support all sorts of other crypto projects. It just seems like a more interesting investment to me, and I do consider it more of an investment. Maybe the potential is there for it to become an actual currency like Bitcoin did not become, but we'll see. It's just a little bit of money to get some exposure to crypto and see what happens. Again, I'm not an expert on the space by any means, but let's read a little bit about Ethereum here. This is from Business Insider. So, while the fate of Bitcoin remains anyone's guess, the inventor of Ethereum blockchain, Vitalik Buterin, is confident that a solution isn't far away. This is referring to green energy usage and the efficiency of transactions and things of that nature. He's currently working on a long promised overhaul of Ethereum's code which dates back to 2019. It isn't as easy as it sounds, as the blockchain can handle more tasks than Bitcoin, like storing data, supporting decisions, and automating value distribution via contracts. Now, I don't claim to understand the nitty-gritty details of all these different capabilities Ethereum has. I do get the sense that it has more capabilities and more to it than Bitcoin. So, continuing on. The new update to the blockchain includes radical innovations such as an entirely new concept of issuing coins, faster transactions, and reduction in energy requirement by 99%, which is huge. Like even 50% would be huge, but 99% is absolutely amazing. So if this came to fruition, I think it would be pretty exciting. So there you have it, guys. Some of my thoughts on why I'm holding Ethereum and not Bitcoin, and I have a relatively small portion of my portfolio in crypto. Now, I'm not throwing shade at anyone that does hold Bitcoin. I know it does have quite the name recognition, the brand recognition. It's been around a long time. It's made a lot of people a lot of money. So it's hard to say they were wrong if they came out ahead, right? At least up to this point. But that's where I stand right now. Where do you guys stand? Are you holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, some other project I'm not aware of? Is something I say strike you as incorrect? Is there a reason why Bitcoin is a superior product to Ethereum? Let me know down in the comments. Interested to hear other perspectives and maybe, update my thinking on this issue as I learn more about it, hopefully with you guys along the way. Thanks for watching if you made it to the end, and please consider hitting like and subscribe down below.